Hey and welcome back. Today's subject is Gododdin and its sub-kingdom Din Eidyn. Both kingdoms do play quite a central role to the history of the Old North, not as central as like Ebrau, Creced and Brynich, but they do have quite an important role as they do show up in quite important poems from that century, thanks to Aneirin, the Prince of the Notting. And I'm not really going to keep us on the intro for that long, so I'm going to go started now. So the kingdom of Gododdin would form roughly from the Gododdini tribe, who Ptolemy did record as living around the eastern portion of the lowlands, with the Segovians to their immediate west around the 2nd century-ish. So we can likely assume that they were staunch Roman allies, or well, as close as you could get to around the border times at that point. So Gododdin would rise at some point after 470 as their first king, King Llydd, was born around that year. Early on we know that Llydd would rule from the hill fort of Dunpelder, or around modern-day Trapean law. Not much is really known about his reign apart from some small details. These include him being a pagan, not a Christian, and that he threw his own daughter off a cliff because she had a child out of wedlock, supposedly. We do know that Llydd would be buried near his capital in a place called Dunpender Law. His son Gergwan Dafod Aur would succeed him though. Information on Gergwan is really scarce, as most of the information we have is based off Arthurian legend. So we know that Gergwan's epithet means golden tongue, and this is more than likely reference towards his charming nature. So the character that he is in Arthurian legend is Gawain. So most information we have on him indicate to him being a very absentee king, which fits in with Gawain's legends such as the Green Knight or the Battle with Carl of Carlisle. We don't know much else apart from that he could be also, they could be mixing up a saint down in South Wales as well, or that he could have just, abdicated the throne after Ron becomes saint down south. We're not really sure. We know his son, Cawrdaf, would inherit the throne after him though. Yeah, next to nothing is known about Cawrdaf or his descendants, but it's likely that they would continue to rule the eastern portion of Gododdin until the Bernicians would conquer them in the early 7th century. Underwhelming if you ask me. We only know about 2 kings, and one of them, half of what we know is just folklore. Quite a shame, to be honest. So you're probably wondering why I said the eastern portion of Gododdin and not all of Gododdin. Well, another kingdom would be carved out of Gododdin at some point from the year 525 to 560. This kingdom would bear the name of its capital, Din Eidyn. The first king of Din Eidyn is Clydno Eidyn, a man from the Ystadlyd dynasty that rules of Strathclyde to the west. Clydno was a younger son of King Dymgwal Hen of Strathclyde, and following the Thornton tradition, all sons would inherit a portion of their father's land. Clydno would either inherit a very small portion of his father's land, or no land at all, and this would lead him to attack Gododdin, where he would defeat them and annex the western half centred around the city of Din Eidyn. Clydno would have a fairly peaceful reign actually until roughly the 560s, where he would join with his cousin Rhydderch Hael, king of Strathclyde, Nuaidh Hael, king of Silcovia, and Morfail in an attack on Rhwn Hir Gwynedd. The reason for this attack is revenge for another cousin's failed invasion of Gwynedd and subsequent death at the Battle of Abermwydd. The alliance would ravage the cantref of Arfon before being confronted and defeated by Rhyn. Rhyn would then pursue them north, where he would die. Clydno would probably die during this invasion or the battles in the north, and it's not recorded though. Although we do know his son Cynan wouldn't succeed him, an older relative by the name of Mynyddog Mwynfawr would. Mynyddog's epithet Mwynfawr means the wealthy, and we do know that he would continue the trend of attempting to halt the Saxon expansion through a very famous act. That act is the Battle of Cattraeth in 598. So the Battle of Cattraeth is recorded in the poems of Gododdin by Aneirin, which is the son of King Dunout of the Notting. And Aneirin would actually be a survivor of the battle, one of the few survivors. So the previous king's son, Cynan, so now probably the nephew of Mynyddog, would actually be part of his retinue and didn't cause any trouble at all, which is quite unusual for medieval society in general, because you'd want to be on the throne yourself, but seems he didn't have much ambition, which is a nice change of pace, to be honest. So Mynyddog would begin rallying an army around 598 to retake Ebrau, the ancestral capital of the north. So we'd rally 300 men, that's what the poem says, but I think that this number is really unrealistic. Maybe it's 300 mounted warriors and he had a few thousand infantry, some archers, but 300 men alone is quite stupid of him. I'm not sure what he's thinking. He doesn't have some Spartans with him. Either way, his forces would eventually march south, where they met an Anglo-Saxon army near Catterick. His men would be slaughtered, all but 3 would die in the battle, but the enemy was routed supposedly. And so, as a technicality, this battle is a victory, but to me, it's a very Pyrrhic victory, or just a general defeat, either way. And so Mynyddig would be succeeded by his nephew Cynan, one of the only survivors of Cattraeth, alongside likely Mynyddig himself and an Eidyn. So we know next to nothing for sure about Cynan's reign, but we do know about 637 the Northumbrians do fight a battle against the Britons of Eidyn. So I do believe that Cynan led them against the Northumbrians in a final stance, trying to halt them, like he had done alongside his uncle a few decades prior. And that final stand would end in their deaths and at the storming of their capital, Din Eidyn. And so that's the end. Well, thanks for listening, and I hope I'll see you guys in the next video.